in developing countries?
Well, the principle of free speech and free media is, of course, basic to any democratic society. So this is fundamentals to democratic development everywhere in the world.
And what needs to be done to develop media?
Well, I mean, you have to make sure that there is a sort of a legal protection of the freedom of speech and a free press. And you have to ensure that also people everywhere are given a voice, and that journalists can do their work, and that you have an establishment of a free press and the respect for a free press.
And how can that be done?
Well, I mean, it's from legislation to sort of the practical workings of journalists. Yesterday we had the Lorenzo Natali Awards being handed out here, and you could listen to journalists that have to be anonymous, or that cannot show their face because they risk being pursued and attacked or even killed. And still, this is a situation of so many journalists all around the world. They also lose their lives in trying to tell stories about power abuse and telling their stories. So it's very important also to protect journalists and the free press.
But in the context of development work, what has to be done?
It's the same everywhere, and I think this is also where, of course, we can make sure that the legislation is put in place, that we can help to maybe provide training, that we can make sure that all the structures are there to support a free and independent media.
Is media development at the time still underestimated in the European Development Aid?
Well, to me it seems also that this has come much more to the fore, and I understand that last year was the first time that there was a forum where this was clearly discussed and debated, and including an action plan where a number of things were mentioned that can really help on this particular subject, including training, or maybe a twinning, or inviting journalists, I guess, from Africa to Europe, for example. So I think there are many practical tools that can be used also in this context.
Do you feel that there's more that has to be done or should be done in media development?
You know, I think both in Africa as well as in Europe and everywhere, there is always more to be done, because this is a constant struggle. And as with democracy, this is not something that you have achieved forever. You have to maintain it, you have to struggle and fight for it. And I think that has to go on almost a daily basis, as we could hear also yesterday from these journalists being awarded for their courage and for their right to speak up and to tell their stories to all of us.
So maybe just again, how do new media, like blogs and tweeting, change democratization processes of countries?
It is, I would say, it's leapfrogging, because it is a technological leap, allowing for the first time an individual to do mass communication. Until now, historically, it has not been possible for one person to do mass communication. You would have needed access to newspapers or other means. Today, through the internet, you can do mass communication also as an individual. And of course, it opens up to an extent which we've never seen before, the possibility to also invite and ask people to contribute. So I think the consultation that has been done is an example of that. Also consultation on an action plan for how to link development and media. So suddenly you will have so many of those who have access to the internet to give their views and to express exactly what they like, and not in the format that the power decides or the government decides. So I think it gives us another democratic channel, of course.
Okay, maybe one more question. How important is the quality of media and journalism then in the development context?
Well, this is always important, and that is why offering training, education, the possibility to do twinning or exchange best practices or be able to scrutinize each other's work is also an important part of this fundamental right of free speech and free press. So I think that is also something that can be covered by an action plan or in the work that will have to come. So quality is of course crucial, but that can only come, I think, when you first open up for free speech and for free press. So you can insist on the quality.
What role can European development aid play in that?
Well, I think this has to be integrated into development and aid discussions, because communication is key. And as we discussed here in several seminars, what about climate change? If people in the poorest countries who are first affected by climate change don't even know the concept about climate change, if they are not given the education or the knowledge, given the information or the right to communicate, how can we implement whatever climate change decisions we take? So I think that this is so basic, and today we can see also in Africa that journalists use more and more the preferred channels of information, that is radio and television, where people cannot read and write. Of course, listening to the radio can be the communication. I used to work for an NGO engaged on this, so I know that even theater or radio or music or other means of communicating have to be used, and this is where you have to offer then the channels or the platforms for that. So as a tool for democracy, communication is absolutely crucial.
So should media development be put even more on the forefront in the development aid context?
I think it has to play its natural role in the development context. That is, how do we communicate? We make decisions, but how do we first of all consult people? So it is also a tool for consultation, and that's why it's about democracy. And it is also, when a decision is made, how do we ensure implementation? That has also to be, of course, communicated afterwards, and what channels then to use. And this is where journalists will have a very, very important role to play, to scrutinize, to criticize, to create a lively debate.
Thank you so much for the
Okay,
interview.
thank you.